at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the 49ers vs. Titans game preview show. Alex, we're coming out a lot earlier this week with a Wednesday game preview show because apparently the 49ers play on Thursday. Who knew?
It's stunning. I'm stunned, and I can't believe it. It's shocking. It's surprising. But hey, Niners, Thursday game, quick turnaround for us, quick turnaround for Vrabel, who, there's some interesting photos coming out, so stay tuned to Cutback. We had some fun today. Me and Mike did. It was a good time. But while we're doing this, Ant, the 49ers, there a lot of things are happening with this team, and there's a lot of things to talk about with this team and what's going on. So Cutback crew, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're a new person here or just finding the channel for the very first time. And let's dive into this game preview, Ant, because there's a lot of interesting things going on with the Niners. Whether it's Tyrell Adams being waived or more actual important issues and going on, like things with Elijah Mitchell being potentially a little bit closer and better to being able to go for the 49ers this weekend. Azeez Al-Shaair looking like he's going to get some limited run in at practices this week and has been getting that. There's some positive signs for the 49ers heading into this game. And if you're going to tell me that the Niners are going to get Azeez Al-Shaair and potentially Elijah Mitchell out on the football field, it goes from feeling pretty good about this football game to darn near like almost arrogant, very ego-esque. I'm Vince McMahon walking down the halls of Vrabel's house as I find this information out. And Mike's going, "What do you know? What's happening over there? You mean to tell me Azeez is playing?" These are all huge ups for the 49ers.
Yeah, it's interesting news, of course. I mean, anytime that you have a possibility of getting big-time players, especially back, it can change the dynamics of the football team and how you approach, overall the game plan, how you're going to attack. All this is going to be big. And the fact that Elijah Mitchell had a great weekend, so developing things happening there. John Lynch goes on KMBR and lets that out of the bag. Kyle Shanahan confirms, yes, some encouraging things have happened with his knee. So this is good news. Will he be back for Tennessee? That is still going to be somewhat of a game time decision because we know Elijah Mitchell still is, not practicing. Azeez Al-Shaair, limited practice. So Azeez is getting out there. He's getting closer. And I was actually surprised he didn't play last week with the elbow. So he may be back. And if he's back, that means this defense is even stronger, which could be very good news for this defense because they played well. They played inspired last week. But getting Azeez back, he flies around. He makes more plays. Just adds to the energy and the overall ability of this defense. So I'm super excited about this week's game because we have the potential of the 49ers inching ever so closely to confirming that playoff spot and getting January football again, first time since 2019.
Get that January football. There's nothing that 49ers fans want more. There's nothing that this team wants more because they want to show that 2019's February football. That's true too. That would be all the more great and glorious for this team. But this team wants to show that 2019 wasn't a fluke, and there's no better test than this weekend against this Tennessee Titans team. We're technically not this weekend. This Thursday against this Tennessee Titans team. Number one, short week. Number two, injuries for the 49ers and injuries on both sides of the football. Number three, two teams that are vying for not just playoff spots, but jockeying for position. And the Niners are trying, working really, really hard at getting themselves closer to being able to get to that 5 seed. And it starts with getting this win against the Tennessee Titans, and it starts on the defensive side of the football. Being able to slow down this run game. The Titans team that, despite Derrick Henry going down, is still top 5 in rushing yards in the league. This is a team whose identity is built around being able to run the football first. Deontay Foreman is actually averaging more yards per carry than Derrick Henry was. Now, granted, much less carries than Derrick Henry has as well. So, there's plenty of time for the number to drop a little bit. But by averaging almost 5 yards a carry, he's getting really, really close, dangerously close. But this is an offense that's predicated on getting that going, getting that run game going, and that opening things up for Ryan Tannehill. And then Ryan Tannehill himself, not an immobile guy, former college wide receiver. You know that just as well as I do, Ant. So this is a mobile quarterback, and sometimes mobile quarterbacks tend to cause problems for the 49ers. For the defense, it happens at times and on occasion. So yes, he's not Kyler Murray levels of athletic and speed-wise, but Carson Wentz has shown that he can be a problem, and I think that's a pretty fair comparison between speed and types of runners.
And I would just like to say, Derrick Henry, you are lucky you don't play in San Francisco because 49ers Twitter will be looking to replace you now since there's somebody that played a little bit better in your absence. That always seems to happen around here, so congratulations to him. And you're right, Ryan Tannehill's ability to extend plays, to move the pocket are all things the 49ers are going to have to stop. They're going to have to prepare for. It's a little bit of a different animal than you saw against Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, one of those guys that moves around very nicely in the pocket, is able to step up, deliver the ball. Kyle Shanahan said, if he gets one hitch, a lot of times he's going to be able to deliver the football. However, he also said there was a bunch of times where Ryan got to 3 hitches and still wasn't being able to get rid of the football, which means Kyle Shanahan believed there was great coverage in the secondary, and great coverage may be what the 49ers need, because if they have to load the box to stop this run game, they're going to need these corners especially. I'm not so worried about the safeties, but these corners to step up in a big way and make sure that they can slow down this Tennessee Titans passing game. Because one thing we know about Ryan Tannehill, especially this season, he's tied for the league lead in turnovers with 14 interceptions, which means he's going to give you opportunities to make plays on defense. You have to capitalize on those. And if you do, you have a very good chance of walking out of Tennessee, not only doing a Nashville jig, but also celebrating Christmas to the tune of a nice Tennessee loss.
This guy right here with a nice Nashville jig, and I really like that. But you're right, and this is the thing, right? Here's the good news, right? If you're the 49ers, Matt Ryan was that guy last week also, right? Matt Ryan was that guy who was going to give you some turnover opportunities. He's going to make mistakes. We've seen on film a handful of times where Matt Ryan 2-3 possessions in a row, sometimes 2 or 3 pass attempts in a row, just putting one in a space where a defender should walk away with it, and they just don't. And you're like, man, if those are turned into turnovers, this Falcons team is not in a good spot. Tennessee is in a very similar situation. The only difference has been that Tannehill, most of Tannehill's like turnovers, they all happen once, like in one game, right? It always happens in a very snowbally type of effect. It's a lot. It tends to be multiples in one game. It's never usually hardly one mistake and then he's clean the rest of the time, like you see out of a Jimmy Garoppolo, who tends to make one bad throw and then bounce back in a huge way. Tannehill tends to snowball a little bit. And, funny enough, in the Madden sim that happened this morning, that kind of happened. So Madden is also already kind of predicting that for us, right? The 5 turnovers from Ryan Tannehill. So, if Madden sim can be correct about that, that would be absolutely huge for the 49ers. 5. It was a lot. We couldn't believe it. We really couldn't wrap our heads around it. But this is just one of those things this week, man, where it really comes down to taking that run game away. And like you said, putting that pressure on Tannehill to be that guy. Make those throws. Don't make mistakes. And if this pass rush can get after quarterbacks consistently and the way that they've been able to do since the bye week, and really all season long, it's going to be a very long day for the Tennessee Titans offense and for Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a different animal from what we saw against Atlanta, where Atlanta, has been establishing the run, but that's not really their identity. It's just been what Arthur has been trying to do over the last 5 weeks. Tennessee Titans are built on the run game. That's what they do. That's the attitude that they set. That is the mindset that Vrabel has. Great run game, limit the amount of snaps, play great defense. It's a recipe for success in the NFL, something Kyle Shanahan knows all too well. However, are they going to be able to get this run game going? They have a running back that's nicked up. They're going to be going with probably a lot of snaps from McNichols, even though I'm sure you're right. They're going to try to pound it in there. They want the physical run game. But can the 49ers stop this run game early on in this game? If they can, and they can force Tannehill to be the one that beats them, that could be a problem. We've seen this in the past, that if the run game is taken away, Tannehill's play action opportunities are taken away, and he's not as clear about his reads when he gets into certain situations. If the 49ers are able to keep Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward out of the box and into the deep halves, where they've been doing so much, the last few weeks, especially to cover for Ambry Thomas, to help Josh Norman, then I think the 49ers are going to have a very good opportunity to not only slow this Tennessee Titans down, but maybe completely shut it down. And that's what you want from this. If the 49ers don't have to bring those safeties up, don't have to bring an 8th guy into the box, good luck beating them, because then you can give the secondary help that these corners absolutely need right now. And maybe the 49ers are arrogant enough to believe they don't need those corners because they have the 6th best pass defense in the NFL. With all the talk on Twitter, all the talk from us, all the talk from the 49ers cutback crew, everybody about how bad these corners are, 6th best pass defense in the league. It makes you think that maybe we're just all wrong. We just don't know what we're talking about because they're getting it done anyways.
Or right, the identity of this team is built around, your front four being able to do its job and get after, the quarterback and make his job really difficult. Yeah. And so your corners don't have to be necessarily the greatest. And, we had a couple people talk about how, the Niners need to not be arrogant enough to believe that, you don't need a corner to win games. And, it'd be nice to have some better corner options. I 100% agree. You can never go wrong upgrading. We consistently say that here. You have to continue wanting to upgrade. But what I won't say is that it doesn't work, because it definitely has worked. The numbers prove that. The film doesn't lie.
How does it work? I have no idea. I see Aubrey Thomas out there, and I just want to throw the ball on him. I just want to throw. I'm like, dude, I'm like ready to get my friend Nico out there and be like, all right, let's go throw the ball on him. We'll make it rain out here.
We're gonna make it. We are gonna make it rain out here. The Falcons basically did that. And there was one point where every time they landed with a formation, I was like, oh man, they're going after Aubrey Thomas here. They're just gonna go after Aubrey. And you know what? I don't blame him. I would be too.
I was waiting for Matt Ryan to just start pointing and yelling 20, 20, 20. But Aubrey was in decent positions. I don't want to hate on him. He was in decent positions. No, I think as he gets better with the ball skills, some of those plays are going to turn into interceptions. That one touchdown to Gage, he was really close to coming up with an interception on that play. And what an interception that would have been. But Matt Ryan made a tremendous throw, and Gage made a great play. But yeah, I'm still a little bit worried about that cornerback position, even though we are the 6th best pass defense in the league.
It's true, but Ant, this is why my key matchup is what it is. It's why I'm focused on this week, because you need to take pressure off this cornerback room. You can't let them get after it. You don't want to have to load that box up with an 8th guy, and that's why my defensive key matchup is the 49ers front four against this O-line, the Tennessee Titans. We've seen Eric Armstead destroy double teams consistently. We've seen Nick Bosa eat up double teams and set the edge. We've seen Samson Ebicom improve as an edge setter as well. And that just makes everyone's jobs easier, because DJ Jones, if he's got a double team, has been eating. And when he's singled up because you're worried about Bosa and you're worried about Eric Armstead, he isn't just eating. He's blowing up plays on the snap, right? Like as the ball is snapped, he's blowing up plays. And it makes your jobs for your linebackers that much easier. Fred's job's easier. Aziz's job's easier. Everyone's able to flow downhill. So the front four needs to get after it in a big way. Eric Armstead, last week, I saw him beat a triple team, literally beat a triple team last week. Setting up a situation to basically get after Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan threw a ball into the ground because of it. So I know this team can win. I know their front four can win when they need to, but it needs to be consistent. It needs to be more often than not, and it needs to be specifically in the run game early, right? Eat up those double teams. Don't give them opportunities to get up to second level and create running lanes, and stagnate that out. Don't let them get a push. Let's keep everything flowing downhill, moving horizontally, right? We're not getting we don't want that line getting vertical downfield. Make them go sideline to sideline. Let your speed get there and shut things down in a big way. And let your safeties, right, be able to do what we've seen Tart and Ward do really well, which is start deep, start 7, 8, 9 yards, and then come downhill and find that cutback lane when that guy tries to put his foot in the ground and get vertical. Oh, hi, I'm Jimmy Ward. I'm here. This is a run. I'm really good at doing this. Hi, I'm Jaquiski Tart. I'm really good at filling these holes. Sorry, you're not doing anything. And if you're the Tennessee Titans, now you're sitting there going, well, it's 2nd and long. Looks like we're dropping back to pass.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the front 7, especially once you include those linebackers to go with the front 4 that you talked about, it's going to be all about them getting those run fits and being able to stop this Titans run game without having to get those safeties and corners involved as much. Anytime that you can lead those guys back, especially those safeties, and allow them to help those corners in these situations, makes it so Josh Norman doesn't feel compelled to grab, to pull, because he knows he's got somebody over the top. It also changes the way they're playing. They can play outside in. They can push him inside. Know that he's allowed to get a release, but as long as it goes inside, because you have safety help, all those things really do help. It also allows the 49ers to get to 3rd and long situations where then they can take advantage of the Tennessee Titans having to get that yardage, but also this defensive pass rush being able to get after Ryan Tannehill. Those are all great situations. Jimmy Ward being able to come up and play someone in the slot. We don't know exactly what this Titans passing game is going to look like, which receivers are going to be out there. But what we do know is what the 49ers defensive backs are going to look like. And that's why my key matchup in this game is 49ers defensive backs. And yes, I'm putting all the defensive backs on notice, them against this Tennessee Titans passing game, because it's going to be all about them disguising what they can do to a point. Because when you have an Ambry Thomas out there and you're wanting to play a two deep look, you can't disguise. I would normally say D'Amico Ryans is going to confuse Ryan Tannehill, make him feel uncomfortable with his reads. But the fact you have to somewhat give help all the time means that Tannehill is going to have an understanding what the 49ers are trying to do in the passing game. That's one of the weaknesses right now of not having a cornerback like Ambry Thomas out there that can do all the things you need him to do, because you can't put him in one-on-one situations. We saw against the Falcons when he was put in one-on-one situations, he struggled in those matchups. If it's Dante Johnson, I have less concerns. He's a veteran who knows what he needs to do, and he will be able to run the disguise coverages and everything because he has a full understanding of this defense, knows where he's supposed to play on each and every zone set. But I have questions about Ambry Thomas, and since I don't know for sure which one is starting, that is going to be a big question. However, I do have so much faith in the safety group. Jimmy Ward has been playing at a Pro Bowl level. Jaquiski Tartt has been hopping onto the scene lately, especially. We've been praising him since day one. It's all been about Jaquiski Tartt getting out there and making big plays, and he's been doing it consistently. Now he's sticking his head in there in the run game in a big way. We liked his run fits before. Now he's doing it from wherever he needs to be on the field. So I'm excited about this matchup because depending on if we have Julio out there, A.J. Brown out there, this secondary is going to have to step up in a big way. I have some concerns about Josh Norman. I have some concerns about Ambry Thomas and Dante Johnson. I don't have concerns about Tartt and Ward, and they're going to have to be the ones that make everything happen. But if your key matchup doesn't work, if that front four and that front seven can't stop and slow down this run game, this 49ers defense is going to be in a world of hurt, because that means Tartt or Ward is going to have to come in this box, and you're going to have one-on-one matchups on the outside where Norman, Ambry Thomas, or Dante Johnson can and probably will get exposed.
At some point, right? It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. The more you ask them to play one-on-one, the more opportunities you're creating for there to be an issue. And look, even if A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are down on the field, they still have some speedy wide receivers. Nakeem Westbrook is a very fast wide receiver. Simi Fioco is, I think, no, it's not Simi Fioco. I forget who the other gentleman is that is with him. Chester Rogers. Chester Rogers is the other receiver, and he is extremely fast as well. So they do have some speedy guys on the outside, and there's one thing we know about Josh Norman. Speed, not a strength right now. Not his thing anymore, and surprisingly, the older you get, sometimes the speed goes with it. So Josh Norman, yeah, that's not a thing. That's not a situation you want. You don't want Josh Norman having to be one-on-one against a lot of people. There are some guys where it's, hey, it'll be fine. We can overcome this. We can surpass this. But speed, typically not one of those things, and speedy young wide receivers is definitely not one of them. So we'll see what happens. And ironically enough, well, not ironically enough, but not surprisingly, Vrabel over here is not being very forthcoming with Julio Jones information and or A.J. Brown information. He's not even spilling the beans. Cutback crew, I see the poll, and you guys really want me to steal the game plan. I just don't know how it's going to happen. I really don't. He's playing everything really close to the chest, surprisingly. I'm stunned.
Yeah, you probably need to do some Mission Impossible style stuff, hang from a ceiling, whatever you have to do, Alex. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe call Batman.
Well, the good news is we're going to know what Tennessee's game plan, or the 49ers game plan against Tennessee, is on tomorrow's episode. Right before the game happens, you're going to find out what the 49ers game plan is going to look like against Tennessee. So a little nod to that. But you're right. There's a lot of cool key matchups in this, and knowing Tennessee's game plan, that would probably help, Alex. If you know what Vrabel was trying to do, it would really help. And that's why my key matchup for the 49ers offense is going to be Jimmy G against pre-snap reads. Because what I want is Jimmy G to be able to go up there and understand that what he sees from Vrabel might not be what he's going to get. Because Vrabel likes to disguise things and make you think you're going to see one thing that you're not. But I think that Jimmy G sometimes, I know you know this, Alex, he gets stuck on his first read. He sees something pre-snap and he gets stuck on it. So what I want Jimmy G to do is be able to let the game come to him. I want him to get out there and be that gunslinger mentality that we've seen from 2017 when he beat these Tennessee Titans. I want him to go out there and I want him to execute. I want him to be one of those guys that's getting the ball out to his guys. We've seen him get criticized for open receivers being open and him missing them and hitting other open receivers, which, me and you will never criticize a quarterback for hitting an open receiver when there's another open receiver, because that ends up being a better option. When you're going through your progressions and you go, 1 is Brandon Ayuk, 2 is Kyle Juszczyk, and you throw to Kyle Juszczyk and he comes up short from the first down, it doesn't mean you were supposed to go to 3 in George Kittle because he was more open. That's not how quarterback plays in the NFL. If you think you're dead, and if you take that time to think you're going to get sacked, if he would have came off Juice, who was open, and tried to go to Kittle, and Kittle wouldn't have been open, that would have been a mistake. So when you're going through your progression, you make sure you do that. But I don't want him to get hung up on his first pre-snap reads. I want him to let the game come to him. Trust his eyes in this situation. Don't let this defense confuse him. Get after it. And I think if he does, I think he can have another successful game, and we can keep chalking these up and continue him on the roll and pushing towards the playoffs.
That's huge, man. It really is. I don't think there's a better offensive key matchup out there than that. Jimmy not making mistakes, Jimmy being able to get rid of the ball quickly, knowing what he sees, trusting his eyes is huge for this offense, especially an offense that you don't know if they're going to have Elijah Mitchell. You don't know if they're going to have the pieces in the running game to open up lanes for the passing game, meaning Jimmy has to soften up the defense so you can run the football effectively, which is what the 49ers want to do, and that's what he did last week. That is huge. But Kyle Shanahan can help in that, and that's why my key matchup offensively is Kyle Shanahan versus Vrabel, right? Vrabel, who's a little bit more, comes from that defensive side of the football and from that Belichickian tree of defensive mastermind guru. He's definitely a guy who has schemed up very, very creative ways to attack teams defensively. And Kyle Shanahan is obviously known for, all the creative ways that he gets offense going with a variety of different players, with a variety of different tools in his tool chest. So motions, things of that nature, pre-snap motions, window dressing, all of that is going to be huge this week. It's going to get guys into situations where they're going to have to show or maybe reveal a little bit of something that they want to run. And if they don't, then expect a lot of cans. If they do, Oscars, a lot of things changing. I expect to see a lot of stuff in the line of scrimmage this week and hear a lot during this game, because I expect this to be, not necessarily a super ridiculous like chess game, but I do expect this to be a game in which you have two teams who are going to try and grind this out, because you have a short week. You don't have a lot of time to necessarily do the normal prep work that you normally do or the necessary install. So it comes down to being able to execute the base stuff that you want to run this week better than your opponent. And some of the best ways to do that, Ant, is to have 5 of the same play that you can run in 10 different looks or 15 different formations, and give, run the same thing or be able to execute something similar to what you wanted to do in these other 4 plays, but, go about getting there a completely different way and showing it a completely different way to get a team off their heels. So it really comes down to execution. Kyle Shanahan being able to scheme this up, use that window dressing to reveal what it is what they're doing coverage-wise, where blitzes are coming from. And then once take advantage of it. Jimmy G can do that. But like you said, he's got to trust his eyes. He can't get hung up on what he thought he saw. He needs to focus on what he's seeing now.
Yeah, and you're going to go back and you're going to look at other teams that you played that play a similar style of defense to what Mike Vrabel wants to do. And as long as you find what they do, then you can kind of take some of that you ran in that game plan and run it again. And this offense will be able to understand what you're trying to do and what you're going against. One of the things that's going to give Vrabel the most problems is the fact they haven't had a full week to prepare for the 49ers' weapons. You don't have a full week to prepare for Deebo Samuel lining up all over the field. You don't have a full week to make sure you locate where George Kittle is. Those are all opportunities that are more dangerous for Tennessee to have to figure out than the 49ers. DeMeco Ryans, you know where he knows Julio Jones is going to be? On the outside if Julio's playing. He knows where A.J. Brown is going to be. Those are things that are easier to game plan for. It's more of execution of stopping said plays, but the actual figuring out game planning is a lot more difficult for Tennessee this week than it is San Francisco, which I believe is a little bit of a leg up. Yeah, the 49ers are traveling for a Thursday night football game, but the Tennessee Titans don't have the overall time to prepare. It's going to be a lot of film study. They're going to be getting after it, trying to figure out where Debo's going to be. And if Kyle Shanahan is the genius that I think he is, he's going to move Debo all over the place. He's going to put him in motion, like you said, with the window dressing. He's going to get the eyes going one way. You're going to be looking for Debo this week, and somebody else is going to kill you in a big way. And if he does get the ball to Debo, it's going to be in a good situation for him to be able to execute.
Don't be shocked, too, to see a lot of misdirection with Kyle Juszczyk this week. I mean, teams have shown that they will use Kyle Juszczyk as the guy that they watch, that their eyes follow in order to, know, hey, this is a run going this direction, and they'll follow. And typically what you'll have is situations where Kyle Juszczyk's coming across with someone pulling, right? So I wouldn't be surprised, to see a lot of some play action looks, maybe even early in this football game, with Kyle Juszczyk going a direction, a play action look, a guy pulling that way, and they're really slide protecting the opposite direction and getting some sort of play action going and seeing, how much do you respect the run game? How badly do you want to stop it? And if they want to stop it bad, then you may have a big play right off the get-go. I think I've heard that big plays early in football games tend to get rhythms going, and I don't know, but there's a chance. There's a chance of that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was talking in one of the comment sections. I commented on some things that were going on, because people are talking about this run game, the 49ers going back to the blueprint of run first. And I really believe, though, that when this 49ers offense is clicking the best is when they're having these huge chunk plays. Debo getting the ball and, going for 30. George Kittle catching the ball, getting down the sideline for 30. The slant pass to Brandon Ayuk for over 30 yards. Those are the actual chunk plays that get this offense rolling. The grinded out style of running the football, I believe, sometimes puts the 49ers offense in a funk. There has to be a happy, balance that they have to find between both situations. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan's main game plan is to go out there and execute a 40 runs a game. Yeah, you can win football games that way. You grind it out. You take pressure off your defense. But I believe having opportunities to hit those huge chunk plays is actually what gets this offense rolling and makes it the most dynamic offense that it could be.
I will agree with you on that. It's all about balance, and offensively, you know that as well as anybody, and even that sometimes when things are rolling really well, you don't get away from them. So when you're running the ball a bunch, but you're picking up 5-6 yards at a time, there's really no reason to get away from it.
Right.
But at some point, teams are going to adjust, right? And when that happens, if that's all you've been doing and you can't get anything else going, well, now the problem sets in. So you have to have that balance. But speaking of the opposite of balance, Ant, we got to give our Wow That's Bold predictions, and there's nothing balanced about these. Nothing about these are balanced. It's actually the inverse. These are completely unbalanced, at times absolutely ridiculous. But if they come true, you can guarantee the San Francisco 49ers are coming away with a ginormous victory. It's time for Wow That's Bold.
Wow, that's really bold. Whoa.
Oh, man, Ant. Wow, that's bold. One of my all-time
Really
favorite things.
Whoa.
I mean, it's super bold. Whoa. Let's put this way. One of my always. One of my all-time favorite things here on this podcast. And I'll start with my offensive Wow, that's bold, Ant, which is going to center around a gentleman who he hasn't underproduced the last few weeks, but he's been a little bit quieter of the wide receivers, and that's Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk, this is your week, right? Kyle Shanahan drafted you to be the Julio Jones, right? To be that guy that he had in Atlanta, that go-to gentleman. And Ant, I think this is a week where you're going to have teams really dialed in and focused on Deebo Samuel. They're going to be really focused on George Kittle because he's basically had 500 yards, almost 600 yards in the last 3 games. Tennessee Titans don't want that. We know Deebo can beat teams. We know George Kittle can beat teams, but you know who they don't know can beat teams is Brandon Ayuk, and they are going to learn this week because Brandon Ayuk is going to have 9 catches for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. Book it, folks. Book it.
Wow. Yeah, you went bold. You went bold. I like your boldness. I like Brandon Ayuk going off. And I think that will just play into my wow, that's bold prediction because I do need Brandon Ayuk to have a big game because last week I predicted the 49ers Yak brothers would have over 300 yards of offense. They came up a little short with 218. But I think this week the 49ers offense goes off in a huge way. Vrabel and this Tennessee Titans defense cannot prepare enough for the weapons. Kyle Shanahan's got this offense going. He is in a zone. Stay away from him, like Alex tweeted. Do not go near this man. Let him do his thing. 49ers over 400 yards of offense in this game, and they get it done against the Titans. I think they're going to go big on offense this week.
Oh my Lord, 400. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. We're going over 400.
Do we even need a defensive while that's bold? Yeah, because if that happens, it doesn't matter what defense shows up. We're putting up a bunch of points, my guy. But defensively, what do you got for while that's bold this week? A week that is, this is, I wouldn't say it's not a questionable week for the defense, but it's definitely going to be a test, especially if AJ and Julio are going. That's not going to be an easy task for the 49ers.
Yeah, I think that the Titans are going to have some offensive success in this football game if they have AJ and they have Julio. If they do not, I believe the 49ers are going to absolutely dominate up front and take care of business because they will be able to occupy an extra guy with a safety. They'll be able to bring him in the box. But my wow that's bold is that the guy who makes no plays, the guy who is not a playmaker, according to Grant Cohn, Mr. Jaquiski Tart, is going to have a big part of this football game because Jaquiski Tart is not only going to make a big play, but so is his running mates in the secondary. And the 49ers are going to force 3 turnovers in this football game. Jaquiski Tart with a pick 6. Grant Cohn, eat your heart out.
Eat your heart out, Grant, 100%. And if that happens, Grant may actually not tweet anything. Or he'll tweet, something to the effect of
about time.
Well, it's about time, or, a broken clock is right twice a day, or he's welcome. If I hadn't said that, he wouldn't have the bulletin board material to play that way.
Or so Talanoa Funga still better.
One of those. And literally any of those are a possibility. And but defensively for me, I'm going to build mine off of kind of what my key matchup was. I'm going to keep a similar theme to last week. Short week and all. Didn't have as much time to prepare for wow, that's bold. So I'm going to go with the defense, specifically not the D line, but the D line is going to have a big part of this because they're going to have 3 tackles. Actually, we'll go 4 tackles for loss. 4 tackles for loss in this game, and they're going to hold the Tennessee Titans under 100 yards rushing.
Woo! I like it. If they hold them under 100 yards rushing, pretty sure the 49ers are going to walk away with a big victory.
I would agree with you. They're going to walk away with it with a huge victory. And Cutback crew, make sure you're leaving your wow, that's bold predictions down below right now. Are you going as bold as either one of us that we just did, or play it a little bit more safe, or potentially bolder? If they go bolder, and I don't know. I don't know what I'll do with myself. And it's
wow, that's someone goes bolder at this point.
I'll take it. I will take it. Go bolder than us. Let's see what you can do down below right now. And now, Ant, always a fun time on this podcast. Lock it up. We make picks, NFC West games, and we got ourselves a full docket of NFC West games and matchups. Your boy, I actually officially don't even know if I'm officially leading yet or if I'm leading at this point in time, but I know the race is close. It's a short week. No graphics for Lock It Up. So we're just going to be making our picks, but Azorean One, he's got to go first. He's got to give us his I guess buffet of selections and what he's putting on his plate for this week. Let's get to it. It's time for Lock It Up.
You might notice here. Look at that. Look at this. It's a Niner. It's a Niner Santa. Huh? Look at that. A Niner Santa. Look at that guy. Check out this guy. Look at this. Look at the lights on that one, huh? Goes right in your soul. Look at that. This right in there. Look at that. Yep. Yeah, let it snow. That's right. We're on. We're recording. Oh. Hey there, Cutback. The Azorean One, Anthony Steves here. And as you can see, things are rather cozy and festive here at Steves Manor. And rightfully so. We've just had winter solstice, Yule has begun, and Christmas is literally a couple days away. It's a beautiful time. A time where we all huddle together and recognize the important things. Us. A time where we focus on each other and not just ourselves. A time where we think of how good we are as a family and not just as I. A time where we come together as a community and realize how much love there is when there's so many of us versus when the spotlight is just on one of us. Love, 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 love. Love actually is all around, and it's stronger when it's a family and not just one person. Oh yeah, my picks. It is week 16 in the NFL 2021-2022 schedule, and this week I'm going for a straight across the board NFC West shutout. That's right, I'm not even going to give you the opponents because it doesn't matter. I know someone who says that. It doesn't matter. I'm going Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, and of course, our 49ers. An NFC West straight flush this week. That's what I'm going for. And I will look forward to retaking the top of the mountain and lock it up. But you know what? Right now, that's not important. What's important is the holiday season and being with those you love and not just focusing on yourself. So, on behalf of everyone here at Steve's Manor, including my production team, who, you know what, we've been through a lot, but I love you. And I mean that. Happy holidays, happy Yule, happy winter solstice, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year, right as we give you the picks for week 17. Take care, Cutback. This a moose? A moose? Why do we have a moose?
Woo, it's time for Lock It Up. You heard the Azorean One. He's ready for Lock It Up.
Man, he's always ready for lock it up and you know, keeping things close. And I don't necessarily like it, but he's always got the energy. He's always got the spice. So let's start this thing off with the first matchup for this week, which is a very intriguing matchup. You have the Rams going up against the Vikings. The Rams obviously trying to keep themselves in the conversation, in the conversation for the NFC West crown.
Right.
5th seed. They're just trying to hold on to something at this point. And you have the Vikings that are literally fighting for their lives. They are fighting to stay relevant. And they've had plenty of opportunities to be relevant, and they've beaten a lot of good teams this year. So by no means is this going to be a walk in the park for this Los Angeles Rams team. You know, you saw Steve's. He's taken the Rams. He has complete faith in that football team. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I think that, you know, if you looked at paper, you would think that this is an easy Rams victory. You've seen the Vikings lose to the 49ers. So we're very, you know, kind of clear on who the Vikings are as a football team. They've had the close loss to the Cardinals. They've been battling the NFC West all year. And I think that you have a couple interesting things. Number one, you have the Tuesday night game between the Rams and the Seahawks. The fact that they played on Tuesday, the Vikings played on Monday. The Vikings will have an extra day, even though, you know, they played on a Monday Night Football, you know, game. So that's a little bit different. You got a 10 a.m. start time in Minnesota. So I have talked myself into this. Kirk Cousins is going to do Kyle Shanahan a solid in this football game. And Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings are going to defeat the Los Angeles Rams 27-23 in a great thrilling game.
I am so upset with you right now. I'm so upset with you right now because this is where I was going with this as well. This was my thought process. This was my feelings. The game getting moved to Tuesday just kind of sold it for me. The minute that happened, I was just like, man, this is just one of those weeks where a lot of crazy things happening. They're going to have a tough game with the Seattle Seahawks, regardless of whether they win or lose. They were coming off of that emotional, win against the Arizona Cardinals anyway. So things are just playing out this way. And the Vikings, they got themselves a win that they needed. They're still completely in the conversation for that last spot in the playoffs. So they're going to be hungry. They're going to be motivated. Zimmer's coaching for his job. He knows that at this point, the way the season has gone for them. I see this going in a very similar fashion, except I see this going 31-21 Vikings, because I think the Rams at this point have shown one thing, which is teams that can run the football effectively take away one of their biggest strengths, which is that pass defense and that pass rush. And there's one thing that we know about the Vikings. They can run the football with Dalvin Cook. They can do that. I think that plays in their favor, and a big win there for this team. Horst also went with the Vikings this week, which was a little surprising to me. I thought he would go Rams. And the Cutback crew, Ant, you're not? Okay, all right. Okay, all right. That sounds good then. The Cutback crew, Ant, surprising me again, 58% with the Vikings.
Ooh,
the Vikings. Steve's is the odd one out this week. He's the only one going with the Rams. Cutback crew, I salute you for that. That is a bold pick, and you pulled the trigger on it. So I will absolutely take it. Next up, and is another intriguing matchup, not because of the teams involved. Well, actually, it's 100% because the team's involved, but it's more with the storyline with the Cardinals and what's been going on with this football team the last few weeks. This team is definitely not the team we thought they were, at least at the moment. Steve still has faith. He's going with the Cardinals. I, however, am not. I am not going with the Arizona Cardinals. The Colts are showing that they can be a very formidable opponent because they do one thing really, really well, better than anything else than most teams in the NFL do, and that's run the football effectively with Jonathan Taylor. Now, has he run the ball a lot? Yes. Could that mean wear and tear on the body late in the season? Absolutely it could. But I think their defense is starting to find their groove and starting to find that rhythm, which makes it a little bit easier on their offense, because if their defense can hold teams down, then you can ask Carson Wentz to throw a little bit more and maybe have some drives where you stall out and don't have to necessarily piggyback on Jonathan Taylor to carry you into the playoffs and carry you into relevancy. I don't think this is going to be a pretty game at all whatsoever. I think this is going to be a very kind of mucked up, kind of muddy game where Kyler Murray's asked to do a lot and makes a couple of mistakes, which he's been doing the last few weeks. And you get the Colts winning this one 24-14.
Ooh, 14. Wow. I looked at this game, and I think that Indianapolis is jumping off the screen right now, the way that they're playing football, which is a dynamic run game followed by, timely good defense. You still have Carson Wentz. That's a little bit of an interesting guy because it seems like he tries to lose games at times. And you wonder, though, is he playing better than Kyler Murray at this point? Kyler Murray has went from MVP candidate to, middle of the road quarterback in only a short amount of time. He's one ankle injury that causes this to happen. So looking at this game, I was completely on paper once again looking at the Cardinals, but I am going with the Colts as well. I think that Jonathan Taylor in this run game is going to be a little bit too much for this Cardinals defense. If the Cardinals would have had J.J. Watt in this situation, if they had DeAndre Hopkins playing on the outside, I would probably have went with the Cardinals. But seeing the way that Kyler Murray has played over the last couple weeks, the fact that Evan is completely down in the dumps about his team, and the fact that I predicted ever since the crumble cookies went to his house that the Cardinals were eventually going to fold at the end of the season, the fold is here. I want the 49ers-Rams game to mean a division championship possibility for the 49ers. So a little bit of this is wishful thinking, but go Colts.
Go Colts indeed, and who would have thunk it that we would be saying this right now? Megan would be running into this room if she could hear me at this moment. Being
with her Colts jersey on.
Oh, totally! I knew it. Go Colts! Go Colts! No, she definitely won't. And I love you. Don't punch me. And look, Horst also going with the Colts, and the Cutback crew is going 91% with the Colts. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. They are off the Cardinals train. They are not picking the Cardinals right now, and I think that's for 49ers, for 49ers fans in general, but specifically the Cutback crew as well, and they're very happy about that. Not having to choose the Colts. Are you kidding me? They're like the Cardinals. Excuse me. They're like, yeah, sign me up today. So up next,
Exactly.
though, I mean, why not? It makes sense. Last NFC West game that isn't the 49ers, Ant, is this Seattle Seahawks against the Chicago Bears. This is just, do I have to? Do I have to pick? I mean, I feel like no matter what I do this week with this game specifically, it's not good. It's not a great pick. The Bears have been absolute hot garbage, whether it's Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, or Justin Fields playing quarterback. Their defense is a mystical, magical. I don't. Some days it exists, and other days it's like the Loch Ness monster. I think it's there, but I've never seen it. It's weird. This team is all over the place, and it's really feeling like this is going to be the end for Nagy. Where are you at with this? Because the Azorean One is sticking NFC West. He's going with the Seahawks. How do you feel?
When deciding between these two teams in this certain game, I looked at a couple of factors. Number one, what time the game is going to be and where the game is going to be. Location and time play a big pivotal role in whenever you see a West Coast team play, a team from that time zone, that Eastern time zone. So yeah, I looked at that, and I think that in this situation, Seattle Seahawks are going to beat the Chicago Bears. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think this is going to be ugly. I don't think either team is really that good. And I think that this is going to be a game that people wish that they didn't watch. But the Seahawks are going to win the game 20-18.
20-18. I like that score. Yeah, that's a good score. I'm also going with the Hawks in this, not because I want to, but because the Bears are awful. They're not good. And I just can't pull the trigger on the Chicago Bears. If it were almost any other team, I'd want to pull the trigger and maybe have a conversation, but this team is just so wildly inconsistent. I hope I'm wrong. I hope like the best version of the Bears show up, right? Justin Fields looks like an all-pro, right?
Go, Justin.
Yeah, I mean they sack Russell Wilson like 1,000 times, and after the game he like takes off his pads. He's like, Sierra says we're leaving and never coming back. Like that would be the perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world, unfortunately. So we're gonna get this game in which the Seattle Seahawks are gonna win. Let's just go with 27 to like 16, something stupid, a stupid score for a ridiculously stupid game. And Seahawks fans, the inevitable, them not making the playoffs, it gets postponed again one more week. And I think I want him out too. And I think Horst also went with the Hawks. He understands, he gets it. Steve's going with the Hawks as well. And the Cutback crew, not. Oh, my Lord almighty. It just updated. I didn't realize this. It has updated since the last time I checked. They're going with the Bears, Ant. They're not even pulling the trigger on the Seahawks. 60% of them going with the Chicago Bears. So there's that. The Cutback crew taking the Bears. I didn't think I would see it. I didn't think anyone was going to do it this week. And the Cutback crew with the curveball of curveballs and the swerve of swerves.
Well, the Cutback crew is coming out in force with their opinions in this week on these polls. Maybe they're going to be right. Maybe we're off on this. I, however, will not be upset if the Cutback crew is right.
If the Cutback crew is right on this one, I will jump for joy. It'll be absolutely glorious.
Put the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll saga and regime to an end.
So long, farewell.
It will be magical. It'll be like the 80s Cold War coming to an end.
Well, it really will be. Really will be. Look. This is the game, right? Niners-Titans, an opportunity to get yourself that much closer to sealing up that playoffs. Azorean One going with the 49ers. And I would be shocked if any of us aren't. I know I am. I think San Francisco, the not necessarily the run game, but the way they've been taking care of the football, the way they've been executing offensively, they move the football. They've been scoring darn near close to basically 30 points every game and should have scored at least 30 points every game since the bye week. The games that they haven't scored 30 points, and they should have. They made some mistakes and didn't execute a couple times that kept points off the board or missed opportunities to score like actual drops or missed field goals. And then the weeks that they have scored 30 a game, it really felt like it could have been 40 or 50 at times because they were just piling things on. And, they got to a point where they got a big enough lead where they didn't necessarily coast, but they were definitely trying to eat more clock than they were trying to put points up on the board. So I think the 49ers offense is going to get it done in a big way. I got 34 points for the 49ers offensively. And the question is can the Tennessee Titans do enough to keep this thing close? I think they can keep it close for a while, but I don't know if they have the firepower. And with the question marks at the wide receiver position, how healthy will all these guys be? I don't know. I have the 49ers winning 34-17. to 17.
Wow. Okay. Well, I will say this, is that I have the 49ers in my Wild That's Bold going for over 400 yards of offense.
It's true.
So to say that the 49ers are going to score in the 30s would be, I mean, you know it.
It's not bold anymore. It's not bold anymore. It's not bold.
40. I went 40 last week, right?
You did.
I do think the 49ers are going to score in the 30s again. I do not believe that they're going to get to 40 this week, but I do think they're going to score. And I actually had 34 as well. So me and you were on the same page. 49ers with 34 points. However, I do believe the Titans get a little more points than that. And I'm going to say the 49ers beat the Titans 34-23, a nice 11-point victory for San Francisco, and a solid win going into Christmas that we all get to enjoy.
Oh man, we get to enjoy it. We get to love it. Horst obviously going with the 49ers. I don't even know if any of you were like, I wonder what Horst. He's taking the 49ers. It's not even. Don't even worry about it. It was the easiest pick for him all week long. And then on top of that, Ant, you have the Cutback crew 96% going with the San Francisco 49ers, upping that total one more percentage point from last week, which is at 95. So this team feeling comfortable, the Cutback crew feeling comfortable, and all of our they're extremely faithful, and I love every second of it. Azorean One, you saw, went with the 49ers. So a clean 49ers sweep. Has anyone not picked the Niners this year on the channel?
Nope.
I love it. I love it, Ant.
It's not going to happen. All right, I'm going to go on a limb. I don't care if I lose, lock it up. I'm not picking against the 49ers. If it comes down to 49ers need to lose for me to win, lock it up, give Alex the trophy. Give the Azorean One the trophy. I'm not about that life.
Not that.
49ers
not that.
all day. It's the reason I don't play
one.
fantasy. I'm definitely not going to let lock it up get in the way of my 49ers fandom.
Agreed with you on that, Ant, and you can call us homers all you want. I don't care.
Call me a homer.
And yes, I am at this point because I want this team winning everything. I want the Cardinals losing out, and I want Week 18 to be Niners-Rams for the division crown. Give it to me. Give it to me. That's all I want in my life right now. Pump it straight into my veins. That's all I need.
Oh, yeah. That's what we need. We need a 49ers win. And I think the 49ers have a great opportunity in this football game. Yeah, it's a short week. Yeah, they didn't have as much preparation. But the Tennessee Titans didn't have that much preparation either. And Alex, when you don't have very much preparation time for the Yak Bros, get ready because you're about to get yacked up. I think they're going to come out in a big way. Wow, that's bold. Brandon Ayuk is going to go off. I believe Deebo Samuel is going to have himself a big game because I don't think at this point in Deebo Samuel's career and the way that Kyle Shanahan is using him that there is any way you can actually fully take him away. I believe he is now a player that is unguardable in some manner. If you are going to take him away in the passing game, we are going to run the football with him, and he's going to explode. If you are going to try to take him away when he's in the backfield, we're going to put him in a situation where he can beat you catching the football. Deebo Samuel's become the ultimate weapon. Not a gadget player, Trent Green. Not a gadget player, but a weapon. That is what it's about. That's what Kyle Shanahan is turning some of these footballs into. And you see these other offensive coordinators following suit, finding guys that they believe have the Deebo Samuel characteristics. But there is not another Deebo Samuel in this league. And the only way we're going to find out if there is anyone that can do the things Deebo can do is if they play for the 49ers, because there's not a genius like Kyle Shanahan that knows how to use a player and use a player's skill set, no matter what people think about it, no matter if they think, oh, you're going to get Deebo hurt, or you should only do this. Kyle doesn't care. All he cares about is winning football games and putting his players in the best situations to be successful.
1,000%, Ant. 1,000%. You can't say it any better than that. I'm not even going to try to. Have fun trying to figure out Deebo Samuel, Mike Vrabel. I thought he was coming in for a second, thank goodness. Have fun trying to figure out Deebo Samuel, Mike Vrabel, because it's not going to be fun, and you had even less time to get ready for it. And if you throw all your eggs into that basket, just get ready because George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Jeff Wilson Jr. will now show that he can do it as well. And Brandon Ayuk, they're all going to have monstrous games. And the minute you try and take one of them away, we're going right back to Deebo Samuel anyway. So yeah, no. He is one of a kind, and just like this podcast and just like the Cutback crew, which has been absolutely phenomenal supporting this channel, whether it's right here on YouTube, liking, subscribing, commenting, constantly voting in the polls, or over on Patreon as well. And I mean, it's been absolutely phenomenal. This community we have here has been great, and traditional podcast platforms, which are always growing, and all of our social medias as well are blowing up. Facebook almost up to 1,000 now followers. Instagram climbing each and every day, as well as Twitter. Man, the Cutback crew is out in full force. We cannot thank you enough for all the support, and this is going to be a very exciting Thursday night game.
Yeah, welcome to the 49ers Cutback, where opinions are welcomed, and sometimes we're going to agree with you and disagree with each other, and sometimes we're just going to agree with each other and completely tag team you. I mean, it's just the way. No, I'm just kidding. No, we just have fun with the opinions in the comments. I like to read what everyone has to say. Some of them are fantastic, well thought out, well deserved, and I really enjoy those ones. And we get some great ones, whether that's Frank or Mike or Gary and all the guys that jump in there and really do a good job. Monica
Dan Stevenson.
Dan Stevenson's fantastic as well. There are some great comments. If you just enjoy reading 49ers comments and having conversations with other 49ers fans, jump into our comment section. You're going to see some great people there with great opinions. And it's a lot of fun. And Coach Tim is going to be in there giving his opinion as well. 49ers special teams, trash. He has been on the special teams all year, and it's been well-deserved. This 49ers special teams has underperformed. Bold prediction for the special teams, Alex. They will not have a single mistake in this football game.
I'll take it, Ant. I'll take it all day, every day. That means only two sides of the football to worry about, and we covered a lot of them today, and hopefully it pans out that way for the 49ers. Cutback crew, though, let us know down below what you thought about this entire game preview. Did you enjoy it? Are you convinced about the Niners against Tennessee now after hearing all the things the Niners could do, all the things they're going to have to take care of and what our key matchups are? Or do you disagree? The key matchups are actually what you think, and if so, leave it down below in the comment section. Make sure you've made your picks for Lock It Up as well, and let us know what you think. Who's going to come away with the Lock It Up crown? Make sure you let us know that as well. Ant, this is going to be a very exciting week, a short week. It's Christmas week. What is there not to be excited about?
Yeah, it's a great week. It is phenomenal. I'm going to save my Merry Christmas regards until the game plan show, because everyone needs to watch the 49ers game plan show. Of course, I could just save it for the reaction show, but I'm going to give it on the game plan show as well. It's one of our most watched programs on the entire channel, so make sure you check out the game plan video tomorrow at 11 a.m. Get you all set for the 49ers versus Titans. Lets you know exactly what you're going to be seeing and exactly how Kyle Shanahan, we believe, is going to attack this Tennessee Titans offense, how DeMeco Ryans is going to scheme it up to protect those corners and get after Ryan Tannehill. It's going to be an exciting time. Make sure you're there. Make sure you join the other great members of the 49ers Cutback crew that make sure they watch that episode every single week. Hop over there and make sure you check it out. Set a reminder right now. Hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss it.
No, you don't. You don't want to miss it at all whatsoever. Ant's right. Be there, or I guess technically don't be there. And then in that case, it's just like, what are you doing? Don't do it. It's on game day. I mean, it's perfect. It's the perfect way to get ready for a Thursday night football game is that game plan video. We'll see you over for that tomorrow at 11 a.m. Enjoy the rest of the Friday Frenzy. We got What's Good with Jay and the Bay. We got a lot of great stuff. You don't want to miss any of it. And until the next one, Cutback crew and the faithful, stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.